Merry meet all. We are in my kitchen. It is early Eostre tide, or the vernal equinox tide here in the southern hemisphere, which will mean the northern hemisphere will be going into your autumnal equinox tide because we are in polar opposites. So obviously we're in my kitchen. I thought I'd do a quick post. Been doing the topic of inflammatory markers and the availability of different anti-inflammatories in my chem, and yeah, it's been interesting. My internet's been literally cutting in and out morning, night and day for the past week, especially every day, and it's driving me nuts, especially when you got papers to submit and it's like Jesus. Anyway, I did do a post. I did add a link into the community section of this YouTube channel, but I'll add it into here as well. It's worth looking into, and that is sugars that are not that are double boiled, triple boiled. Triple boiled is your blackstrap molasses as example. Your double boiled is as example is your actual molasses, which we have here. So the sweetest one and the most bitterest one that I actually like the taste of. I'm a fan for licorice as well, so not everyone likes licorice. So if you don't like bitter stuff, you probably won't like blackstrap molasses, but I love it. Economically wise, though, buying financially, penny pinching, that sort of thing, it's easier to get hold of really large batches of just plain molasses. And this is a 20 kilo or 20 litre barrel, I should say. What I typically do is I buy bulk like this, and then I divvy the molasses up into canning jars, which is why I've got my top shelf up there open, because I've got a lot of canning to do. And I basically just can away and then store back up in a dark place, cool place, the molasses. And these buckets are really awesome as well. I love these buckets. They're great for holding feedstuffs, which are like, 10-20 kilos, but don't warrant the large feed bins that I use anyway. So I really love these buckets as well. So there's another benefit of buying bulk like this. It is sulfur free. If you're used to consuming blackstrap molasses, which is really sweet and dark, this is more of a honey color and not as sweet, almost mild on the not like sugary at all. Then you might not like the taste of this if you want something really sweet like the blackstrap, but for your health it's actually pretty good. So there is reason to believe that molasses can act as a anti-inflammatory, which is naturally sourced, and there are also trace minerals elements within the molasses as well, which is good for you. I'm vegan, and one of my sources of iron is actually molasses. Now, there's a difference between animal sourced iron and non-animal high iron, i.e. blood iron, non-blood iron, or HAM iron versus non-HAM iron. And there's a lot of silliness around on the interweb of people going, oh, only blood iron's good because you absorb it the most. Well, actually, no. Just because you absorb more of something doesn't mean it's good for you. Men in particular suffer actually quite a bit if they consume too much blood iron, especially blood iron. The good thing about plant-based iron is that you can't overdose on the bad stuff, if you like, and your body readily gets rid of what it doesn't need. It's harder to do that with blood iron. Generally, men don't live as long as women. They also tend to have a few health issues as they age that aren't as predominant within the women population, but we have other issues, you know what I mean? So I'm not having a go at blokes, but a big reason for that is your diet. And if you're consuming a lot of HAM iron, blood iron, it's not actually good for you. And I say this as a retired dietitian. I'm not a dietitian anymore, but I bring this up because molasses is one of those pantry supplies I get, not just for me, but also my animals. There is a contradiction, interdiction, and that is that it can give you the runs if you have too much of it. So, I mean, but it's the same as treacle or aniseed. Any diuretic, you have too much, it can make you be running to the toilet. Not that molasses is a diuretic, it's not, but it has the similar effect. If you need to go, eat a lot of licorice, put it that way. So anyway, blood sugar is also a thing that when you're a woman and you menstruate, that it can help you with that, in regulating that. But to the animals, I give my ducks molasses, my chooks molasses. My cat, unless it's baked in a cake or a bread, she won't eat it. When I used to ride horses, equine health molasses is really good for them as well. So it's something that you can buy in a bulk like this, which I recommend doing, and then you can divvy it up. It's not just for us human animals, but also the critters that are in our care. It acts as a really good electrolyte as well. So if you've got an animal which is in distress, not really eating much, or it can't eat that much, it's not that strong, or it's a little bit weak, molasses used as an electrolyte mixed in water can actually really help them, along with any other things that you put on there. Not that is a substitute for veterinary care in an emergency situation or something's needed. But most people who keep animals, that homestead or have a farm, or actually look into the animal health, they don't just have animals and collect animals because they're cute. Most people like that usually have an invested interest in looking at things like this that they can get for their animals to help them generally in day to day, and then if something awry happens, especially as an interim supplement to help them through to your next vet or specialist visit if there's something amiss. So that is molasses. It is a dark, dreary day. I have the light on in the kitchen, believe it or not, but it's so dark. I've just lit up some tea lights just in case. My beautiful chamomile tea, my favourite mug at the moment. I love a kitschy mug. So I've just got some icing sugar here, and I've got some sunflower butter or margarine, and I've just mixed it with a tablespoon of coconut cream, pure coconut cream. I'm just going to mix it out a little bit, and I need to put this camera down somehow. And I have one of those really little tripods. It's not a massive, tall tripod I can use. I really do need to get one of those. I used to have one, but the clip on it broke, and I just haven't got round to replacing it. And I've got some priorities. I need to buy a stethoscope for class, and I also need to get baby scales of a good quality as well, which is going to be handy as well, because I don't want to rely on just going when I've gone to the vet in the past to weigh my feathered babies, but I need it anyway for study, for the natural animal medicine. I also need to get postage scales as well for the seeds when I start sowing seeds for the hawk business. But anyway, digression. So I'm just mixing it. It's slightly soft. It's not hard. It's nothing fancy. And I made a vegan orange poppy seed cake late last night as I was trying to, in my head, I thought at 11 o'clock at night, once I had all the feathered babies to bed and my cat was at my feet, that I was going to power through a whole lot of whips and get, a crochet project done. Instead, I sat there for nearly an hour as my cake baked, and I didn't do anything at all. The mind was willing, but the body's like, screw you, I just want to sleep. So so we're doing the icing now. All Alright, so I've just used a trivet because basically the pot's not hot now, but it was warm before. I just semi-melt it, nothing fancy. So just in sifted fine icing sugar and mixing that in. I don't have this sort of thing all the time, like literally once in a blue moon or once every 6 months or so. I do consume a lot of cake, but it is a German cake or Blackstucken, which is basically almost like a sweet bread, and it's baked in a sheet, and it's usually full of, you know, flower petals like marigolds and herbs and spices. There's more of a breakfast healthy baked sort of muesli cake, if you like. So I don't mind having a lot of that, of course. So just let me mix that in. I don't think we're going to have a lot of rain though this year through the summertide, even in the time of the deluge or autumn when we get through our summer and midsummer tides. Just from everything I've observed with the soil and weather patterns and my recordings of all the data, it looks like we're going to have a drier season this year in Australia. So doesn't mean we won't have the wind and shit destroying things, but we might not have enough rainfall this year. So on a side note, I really do recommend, if you can capture rain where you can, to do so, because I have a little feeling it's going to be a very dry, hot summer when it does come down here. And we need to prepare for it this year. We do every year, but this one in particular. So I've just mixed the icing and the slightly softened butter. I used about 2 heaped tablespoons of sunflower butter or margarine. So it's margarine made out of sunflower seeds. And well, you can substitute that for any butter or margarine, really. Of course, I'm vegan, so I'm going to use a vegan type. And the icing sugar needs to be sifted fine, otherwise it's just not going to plain ice. An orange poppy seed cake with a butter icing, just enough on the top. I ended up baking it in a loaf instead of a round cake tin like I usually do. I do that sometimes. I want a better action. Yeah. And obviously the cake is cool. It was baked last night, and then I had the tea towel over it just in case any rodents have got into my house and think, ooh, look, the nice human has left a yummy cake on the table for us. Doesn't matter how much you rodent proof your home or place, those little buggers will try and get in there, and if you have something that smells good, they're gonna come. They'll make a hole in your bloody wall, especially corners. Corners is one of those things. You can have a plastic container. If it's got a sharp corner, they'll chew through that, little buggers. And unfortunately, they do carry things with them. So, you know, for your own health's sake and that of the animals that you do have in your care, you need to keep on top of that. But anyway, so here's my orange poppy seed cake with a vegan icing butter top. Oh, yummy, yum, yum, yum. It's literally like, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I still haven't had breakfast yet. Oh, bad habit. It's a habit I can't afford to have, but every now and I fall into it. It's just the way it is, especially when you have things a little bit all over the place because you've got someone sick in your household. For me, it's animals. So, you know, I'm rehabilitating, especially Catherine. Flint is actually, he's doing really well. He's going to be fine. Catherine, we're sort of, But, you know, as you know, someone gets sick in the household, something happens, everything goes a little bit pear-shaped and upside down. your time goes. But that is my vegan butter icing. So I used about 1.5 cups of icing, fine sifted icing, pure icing, and around 2 tablespoons of butter. Vegan, use whatever you like. It's slightly softened or warm room temperature, with a tablespoon of pure coconut cream. You can just use a tablespoon of milk of any type. I am impartial to the coconut cream. I love coconut. I'm a bit of a coconut myself. And that is my iced cake, and now I just want to munch. So anyway, that is it from me. Just a quick vlog, a tip on a pantry supply staple. And oh yeah, before I go, one of the things I really love to make with molasses is black bread. I call it black bread, but it's really just traditional European heavy dark bread that hasn't been bleached to kingdom come. But say you have white flour and you bake a bread, you add the molasses, it does add a beautiful golden hue to it, and again ups the mineral trace elements count within the bread as well. And that then you can also freeze those loaves of bread. So I will be baking a whole heap of bread this weekend, or this week hopefully. Tonight I'm planning on canning a whole lot of legumes as well. I've got some black French lentils that I want to can that I dried from the last harvest last year, and I've got some navy beans as well I want to cook, and so a lot for me to do today. But anyway, I thought I'd share that. If you don't have molasses in your pantry, get it. If you already get it, instead of getting a little jar that costs you, nearly $10 in the grocery store, and here in Australia between $6 and $10 for like a 200 gram jar, buy yourself a 20-litre batch from a natural supplier. And I've got Green Valley Naturals here. And save yourself money, and you literally will have molasses for the entire year or two, not just for you and your family, but also your animal family as well. For me, those two are intertwined. I don't have a human family, I've got an animal family. Anyway, blessed be Mary Part. I hope you're all keeping safe, sane, and you are continuing to plod along. Blessed be, and Mary Part.